Yeah. All right, you're live.
What's up, fish heads? Welcome back to Waterbox Live here on Wednesday evening. We are back. We appreciate y'all being here. We got a fun episode for you tonight.
Yep. So we are giving away 2 $100 Waterbox gift cards. So of course, as always, the currency to win those is be active in the chats. Get to know each other, talk, where you're from, what water box you have, any of that. And we'll also have a lot of time for Q&A. So start dropping your questions in here so the guys can start grabbing them. But being active in the chat is the #1 way to win some water box money.
Yeah, again, like Jess said, engage with us. We're trying a little bit of a different format here. If you guys haven't noticed, we did it last week as well.
Yep.
So we're giving you guys a lot more time to engage with us and ask questions because the Q&As tend to be really popular and we don't get to all the questions. So drop them below, share the stream, like the stream, and most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Yep.
If you guys don't know, our Memorial Day sale went live today.
Woohoo!
So it's running from the 21st to the 27th. Take advantage of this, guys, because I can tell you that this is going to be the lowest price you will get on a water box for a while. If I'm alluding to anything, you can probably figure out what that is. Take advantage of this sale. If you're considering a water box, do it now.
Yep.
And yeah, so again, aquariums at the 15% off. All the way, this is going all the way to the 27th. So don't wait.
So equipment and supplies are on sale too. Aquariums are on sale. This is definitely the time to get everything.
Yeah.
Aquarium, or if you already have your water box, need some supplies, RDI skimmer, any of that, now is the time. No better than this wholesale time.
Yeah, I see a bunch more people joining us. Again, we're going to talk. We got a little bit to talk about one of our favorite fish, but put your questions down below. Let us know what water box you have. Let us know if you got questions about water box or keeping that water box or setting it up. Anything.
Anything aquarium related. We're here. We're going to have more time for Q&A with our kind of new structure that we're doing or trying it out. So we're talking today about hawkfish. So they probably want to have the most cute, fun personality. They're a unique fish, so they definitely deserve some attention. So we'll kind of talk about that. You guys can continue to drop your questions into the chat. And we've had them in quite a few of our builds.
I've never kept one before.
Besides here.
Right.
Yes.
Not personally had a hawkfish before.
Yeah, hawkfish are a lot of fun. So kind of I think #1 thing people are going to notice about them is that they don't actually swim. Anytime you see a hawkfish, they're usually perching or kind of like gliding through the water. So they tend to hop around all the different places, like to hang on to stuff, but they don't actively go and swim because they don't have a swim bladder. So they can't be buoyant like the rest of your fish, just chilling out in the open water.
They don't float.
They don't float.
I wonder if they're upset about that.
I don't know. I think it makes them cuter than everybody else
It is
it
is a cool.
I think they're jealous of all the other fish.
Yeah, like when I see the other ones, like, and they're like,
look at him. He has to wiggle so hard to try and swim. And a lot of times they'll like catch the current of the return or the power heads to try and like get across the tank. But otherwise, they just are going to perch. But they're really inquisitive. Mm-hmm. So they have a lot of personality. They're usually always kind of watching around. Any of the ones I've ever had, anytime you come to the tank, they like come up front. They're in your face. Every picture you try to get has a hawkfish in it because they are like they love attention, and they kind of just are always surveying everything around. So the one that you're seeing in here is the flame hawkfish, probably one of the more common ones you see people keep.
Around too.
Look, they really are. They're just the watchers of the whole aquarium, and with such a bright red color, they're a great addition as far as personality and being beautiful.
Yeah, and that adds a nice pop color to the tank.
So that's your flame hawk, probably one of your more common ones. There are a handful of other hawkfish. They all have the same general kind of personality and way of swimming and perching. This is a long-nosed hawk. I just find that the flame hawk is probably one of the more mellow and safe in an aquarium because hawkfish, as cool as they are, they do tend to eat shrimp, especially if they're smaller. They can pick at your crabs and snails. They are a predator, so things that are small enough do have risk.
Do they eat coral polyps or anything like that?
No coral or anything like that, but they'll pick off a hermit crab, they'll take, small shrimp down. I've always found usually If you have shrimp in there before the hawkfish goes in and the fish are decent size, they tend to leave them alone. But if you put a tiny little shrimp in there or just drop a new shrimp in, hawkfish is going to probably go and try and eat it, and that doesn't fare well for your shrimp or smaller inverts.
Just want to mention real quick, a lot more people joining us. We are doing a much longer Q&A today, so if you got any questions about Waterbox, setting up your aquarium, keeping an aquarium, whether it's freshwater, saltwater, you got questions about hawkfish, post them in the comments below. We'll get to as many as we can.
Yeah, so predators, they are somewhat in danger with inverts. So use them with caution. These are a couple different other. It's either a pixie or a falco hawkfish, I'm going to say. Falco? Okay. Yeah, falco. You don't see them as much around. So generally, the flame and the long nose tend to be the one you see the most in stores, anything like that. But the rules all apply. But like a long nose hawk tends to get pretty good size, and they can take down a shrimp with their big old beak mouth. The ones like this that have a little bit smaller mouths are going to be safer with anything bigger. Some have a little bit more risk than others, but still don't think you can go and keep like sexy shrimp and pom-pom crabs and small cleaner shrimps in with these guys without a big risk.
I'm doing my own Googling.
Oh, you're Googling?
Yeah. There are 33 species of hawkfish.
Yeah, I believe it. There's a lot. A lot of them aren't very pretty, so you don't see them in the aquarium industry.
That makes sense.
In general, you're going to see maybe 5 ever kind of in a fish store, but there are a lot more, but a lot of them are not very pretty, or they get really big, or they're actually really aggressive. So most you're going to see, it's generally flame and the long nose, and some of the times the smaller ones you can kind of see here and there, but they're carnivores, so but they'll pretty much eat anything. You're just having fun on Google? Okay. They'll eat anything. They're carnivores, so of course meat in their diet is best. Mysis shrimp, chunks of krill. I mean, they'll take pellets. They'll take pretty much anything. They're not picky. They're super hardy, easy to keep. They're going to be pretty forgiving if the water quality is not perfect or it's a newer aquarium. It's really the only thing with these guys is use caution with really, really small fish or smaller invertebrates and shrimp and stuff like that. But their personality offsets those dangers, if you ask me, any day. Yeah. They're one of the coolest fish to keep.
And none of the hawkfish have swim bladders.
No, they're all hoppity hops. That's all they do. But they can really take some current and glide, but they will always find perching resting spots, which gives them that little judgmental look around kind of feel to them. But look, they're just wiggling around. Most of them don't get too big, maybe 4 to 6 inches at max. The ones you see in the main aquarium industry.
Steven's asking, are they jumpers?
They could be, but they don't. I don't think they're high risk. Mm-hmm. I mean, any fish is definitely possible to jump. But because they don't have a swim bladder, it takes a lot of movement for them to get anywhere. And for them to kind of make it all the way up and out of the water would take quite a bit of propelling force from them. Because they're not just like a dumb fish that's sitting there floating and decides to jump. They actually have to
They're not hanging out near the top of the surface.
Right. So I don't consider them a high risk, but anything can jump if it's being chased or upset or, given the right circumstances. The long nose are really, really pretty. But they do get bigger, so there's a little bit more risk at inverts and stuff.
Let us know in the comments if you guys have kept any hawkfish. Are hawkfish shaped with shrimp, fire shrimp, cleaner shrimp, and harlequin shrimp?
If the hawkfish is smaller and the shrimp is bigger, yes. What I have found is if the shrimp exists, like even say you get a small hawkfish and you add some bigger shrimp, as the hawkfish grows up, that doesn't see them as food. But if you go and drop a new shrimp in there and that shrimp just shows up or is floating through the water or is small, then it's opportunistic. It's not trying to be eating your shrimp, but it's a food source. But if it already existed, then it usually is not at a risk.
When you say small, do you mean like can fit in its mouth or like the size of its body or smaller than its body? Like where they try to rip it apart?
So they can. take it in their mouth and basically bash it against stuff.
Yeah.
So it can take something down a little bit bigger. I would say a third of its body size and smaller is a risk. Depends on how boisterous they are. I've had some that are big butt heads, and then I've had others that, pretty much leave everyone alone. But the key is to like always either have the shrimp in there first and establish them bigger, or add them much larger or as large as possible in comparison to the hawkfish, and put the shrimp in and like put it down and like release it into the rocks so that it's automatically can kind of go to safety. If you go and drop it and it just kind of starts fluttering around the water,
Looks like he's getting fed.
yeah, that is like prime like instinct right there for that hawkfish to just go and just rip it apart.
I have a question about the glass. What is the glass you guys use to build the tanks? So we use ultra low iron, so ultra clear low iron glass. So it's the lowest of the low.
The lowest.
That sounds really bad.
Right.
It's the highest quality ultra clear glass that you can purchase to build these things with. So yeah, it's very, very clear. I think it's 98% transmittance.
Yeah, 97 or 98.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Tony-
on all sides.
Yes. No sale on the LX, AJ. Unfortunately, no. There's a bit of a backlog on the LX, so not to say what will happen in the future, but not right now. John says best lid or light for the 60.2 for a full reef.
If you're going to look to do SPS and stuff, I would go with an XR15. I think XR15 would be plenty. You could go up to a 30, but you're going to put that percentage down pretty low. But XR15, either Pro or Blue is perfectly good. It's going to give you plenty of coverage for anything you want to grow. I feel like John's pretty set on the 60.2.
Yeah.
We mentioned it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. He's kind of left the Cube 20 in the dust and is all the 60.2, so I'm pretty sure that's where he's going to be going with this.
Do you just sell sumps? We don't, but every once in a while, I mean, you might be, I don't know what's in there right now, but if you look at the clearance section, sometimes there are standalone sumps.
Yeah.
I don't think there are now, but you can check. Arizona Waterbox owner here. What all-in-one skimmer do you guys prefer?
We use the Sea-Chay. So that's the ones that we have.
shark?
Yeah, the shark ones. And we have 2 different sizes, so it matches pretty much all the different all-in-ones that we have. So that's what we prefer. Sea-Chay's got like the best warranty ever. Great support, so it's a good product.
Yeah, Stevens says the glass is beautiful. I will tell you, the one thing I love is a brand new shiny water box that there's no water in, because it really is. It's like a work of art. Like with the diamond beveled edges, the silicone seams are some of the cleanest you'll see in the industry.
Yeah.
They just look super nice. Happy Waterbox Wednesday. Refugiums and rear of all-in-ones. Thinking about attaching AI blade fuge to the rear of the 50.3 on the right side, second chamber.
Duh. I mean, you can do it. I don't think it's the best use of your chambers, and it's going to be the most efficient. Also to consider is the back chamber glass is black, but it's more of a smoked black glass. So if you put a bright light on there, you will be able to see it through the front because it's not a jet black glass. So you would either want to black it out so you don't have that spill through. But I think in the space of what's there, what you kind of should better off use it for with your media and protein skimmer and sponges and stuff like that.
Maybe like a biological media or something.
Yeah, or just even carbon and phosphate and all these places to run this stuff, that you're better off finding like a hang on the back type fuge or something like a fuge reactor, something that's not taking up a big portion of your actual back chambers of an all-in-one. If you can, I think it's more functional. You're going to be able to use a bigger size, and with, like I said, you're not going to see the light. It's going to be a little more contained if you do it that way. There are people that do it in the back of the chambers. I just don't think it's the most ideal way.
Waiting on a Waterbox 230. Are there any grass I can put in the salt water that do well? Are there any grass?
There's no grasses, but there's macroalgae. So you got some fancy macroalgae that aren't going to be like overtaking. Finding companies that sell many varieties of them is a little bit harder, but there's like shaving brush and all these different types of colorful algae if you want to go that way, but not really grass. However, if you put star polyps, it looks like grass.
was gonna say green
Oh
stuff.
yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Star polyps.
You can put star polyps and pretend it's grass, and they're going to help with nutrients and grow really fast.
Like Aaron, are they reef safe?
Reef safe in the terms of corals, yes. Reef safe in the way of small invertebrates, no. But sometimes you got to give or take. How would you know? Do you want the small little shrimp and stuff? Do you mind replacing some hermit crabs a little bit extra early to have a really bright, colorful, full of personality fish? And a lot of times, I think with a hawkfish, if you can establish some of your shrimp first and just know you can't keep many tiny ones, I think it's a fair trade. They're so much fun.
What's the max size a hawkfish can get?
Depends on the type, but the common ones that you're going to see that are going to be for your aquarium is like, 4 inches, maybe 5. But, they don't get real big. There are some bigger ones out there, but they're not ones that you're going to see put into aquariums.
I agree with aquatic polyps. The irony of being called a hawkfish but not being able to glide or float like a hawk or normal fish.
That is rude. That is really rude. Must be because they're always like at the top, just like watching everything.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a hawk.
Maybe they're using it differently.
Yeah.
What minimum size tank for a hawkfish and a few others?
Oh, hawkfish are pretty active. So while they may not be a big fish, I would say 40 or 50 gallons minimum, just because they do move around a lot. And if you want a couple other fish, you don't want to jam pack them because you can cause aggression issues with anything that's technically a predator type carnivore if you are too close together in an aquarium. So 40 to 50 gallons is best. However, there are some little bit smaller ones that aren't as big. You could probably put in smaller. You can try. And then there's also a fish that's actually an anthias that looks a lot like a hawkfish, acts like a hawkfish, but from the anthias family, and they actually stay pretty small, and that's the geometric pygmy hawkfish, I want to say. Geometric pygmy hawkfish. It's been a while, but it's in the anthias family, but looks similar, but stays small. So that's something you could probably use in a nano tank and kind of get that same feeling, but not the same aggression and size.
You're right. I did Google them.
Huh?
He's a little guy.
Yeah, a little guy. They're cute.
There you go.
But it's actually an anthias. Looks like a hawkfish, though.
Oh, yeah, take it.
Nope. He's coming. See? He looks like a
He's got a
hawk.
big old spine thing.
Yeah. So has the same traits as a hawkfish. Action anthias. Stays small. So hard to find, though. Not going to be one that you're going to just walk into a store and usually see, but you can get them. So it's a cool option for like a nano.
That fin thing was pretty interesting.
So cute.
I don't know if you're going to pick this one, Keenan, but Isaac says, what's the largest tank y'all have ever built? And then obviously, so our largest production tank is an 8-foot, which is a Reef LX 380.8.
Yep.
We've got some pretty big custom tanks. We have.
Got some 10
We
footers.
can talk about the one going. It's on its way right now, right?
It's in the ocean.
It's not like secret, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, we'll find out. We have what is it? 1,200 gallons going to the Waikiki Aquarium.
12 or 1,500. It's a 10-foot long glass aquarium. 10 by 30 something by 50, I think.
Yeah.
I have to look. But yeah, it's about close to 1,500 going to the Waikiki Aquarium.
1,500 gallons.
I think it's close to there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So just to give you guys an idea,
Big.
that aquarium had to go in its very own
40-foot container.
VIP 40-foot container to get to the Waikiki Aquarium.
It's in the ocean
One
right now,
tank.
making its way to Hawaii. So as far as custom goes, 10 foot, we can go up to 10 foot, however wide, and up to like 55 inches tall, size-wise. So if you got the budget and you can dream it, do it.
That's a heavy tank.
It's so heavy.
Do you know how much it weighs?
Oh my God, the one pallet of it. Oh, I was doing it. I was getting ready for the container. I want to say it was 3,000 something, 5,000 something.
5,000 pounds.
Somewhere around 3,000 or 5,000. I forget which one it is, but really heavy.
How thick is the glass?
That one is, I think it's
Is Is it
2
double
layers.
or double laminated?
The sides are double laminated,
So 30,
19
or so
millimeter,
40. Well, yeah, about roughly 40 millimeters.
and the bottom's triple. Yeah,
That is heavy.
triple panes of glass on the bottom, double all around it. Very, very heavy. So coming soon to Waikiki Aquarium will be a new exhibit with a big Waterbox custom.
Love it. Can you keep them with gobies?
Yeah. Some gobies can be really, really small, so just be careful. It all really comes down to size with compatibility with these guys. But as far as gobies tend to stay on the bottom, and hawkfish tend to hop around all over, you're more likely to run into territory issues if you don't have enough space. And overcrowding or too many of the same type is blennies, because blennies also hop around onto the rocks and kind of have that same space in the aquarium, whereas gobies tend to stay on the bottom, so it's not usually as much of an issue.
Any other plants besides mangrove that can grow out of the top of salt water?
Not that I know of. You?
No, not that grow out of salt water, because that's kind of like more of a, could I call it a tree? Yeah, it's a mangrove
tree, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that there's trees.
That can exist.
Yeah, like I know there's a lot of palm trees I've seen growing in or near salt water, but
Probably not their choice.
you're not going to put a palm tree in your aquarium. So.
I mean, if you had a 10-foot custom, you could.
True. A hawkfish is about 2 inches and is super peaceful unless there's a shrimp. Even if the shrimp is bigger, he destroys them.
Yeah, and that is one of the risks. You can't really make them not do what nature has intended them to. It's each one's gonna have their own personality, and also I think it depends on type too. Now, if you have a 2-inch one and he decimates all sizes of shrimp, just give up. Don't even. The only way you could is like if you were able to catch him, like take him out for a little bit, establish some shrimp that are large, and then put him back in. You might be able to get away with it, but
I don't know if AJ caught it, but the thickness of that aquarium, it's 40 millimeters on the front side back, and the bottom is roughly 60 millimeters. So to put that in perspective, that's math.
19 an inch.
19 millimeters is 3/4 of an inch. So what?
It's like 1 3/4. 1 3/4, roughly. Yeah, 1 1/2.
1.5 is 40 millimeters.
All right,
Yeah,
1
so-
1/2 thick on the
An
outside.
inch and a half, and the bottom's 2.25, I guess.
Do your mathing.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Really heavy, really thick glass.
Is the medium-sized magnetic glass cleaner good for the 190?
You can use the medium, but I think the large is going to be a better option. It's going to have a better grip. It's also going to be better against any kind of a little bit more stubborn algae. You know, if you get a magnet that, yes, it can do that glass thickness, but if it's on the kind of high end for it, more likely it's going to kind of pop off if you could move too fast and that stuff. So the large would be better, but the medium will work.
How soon after taking a cycle should you start using a protein skimmer? That's a pretty popular question.
As soon as livestock goes in, anything that makes waste, go ahead and start running the protein skimmer. Because if you don't, then that waste is just going to continue to build up, and then you have to do bigger water changes to get it kind of where it needs to be. So if not, at least whenever like inverts go in, at least once your first fish are in, definitely turn it on.
That tank's Eurobrace too?
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah, a lot of bracing.
Yeah.
Multiple levels of
it just
bracing.
occurred to
Layers
me.
and layers of bracing.
So it's not just an inch and a half thick glass on the sides. It's also has a ton of bracing built into
Probably
it.
has 3 layers of bracing on the top, I think it does.
Dang.
Somewhere on there. It's a big one.
Can it activate? Thinking about that. I mean, there's only way you can get that on the stand is like with a forklift.
I don't want to
so-
be them. I don't want to be them are there. Nope.
See if they can record it for us.
Yeah.
Can activated carbon cause a significant problem with corals or inverts if too much is used or not rinsed well?
You would have to use a ton of it to be a problem, and then you'd have to do it long term. Now, I mean, there are things that say, you know, using carbon and changing it too regularly. If you're changing your carbon like once a week, you're probably going to strip out a lot of stuff. Excessive use of activated carbon has also supposedly been linked to things like head and lateral. but you have to really overdo it. And I don't think most people are ever going to use so much of it or change it so frequently that you're going to have a problem. But it does technically, because it is absorbent, take out all the bad stuff, discoloration chemicals, toxins, which is what you want it for. It's way more valuable than a possible negative of it. But it can absorb some stuff from your water if you used too much of it too regularly. But if you're doing regular water changes, change your carbon once a month, go by the guidelines on the side of your aquarium, you're going to have no issues. But it can save your aquarium from life and death with it just being in there on a regular basis.
It's funny. I'm still thinking about that Waikiki aquarium.
Yeah.
Because I saw someone asked, have you ever made an acrylic tank? And no, we don't. We only work in glass. But you'll notice that we only go up to certain sizes because not only do they have to fit in a container, but also with glass, like I was saying, that they start to get so heavy.
Yeah. Not realistic.
Yeah, it becomes not realistic to make tanks much larger than, say, like 1,500 gallons in glass.
Yeah.
Because it is so much heavier. Acrylic's a nightmare. Scratches.
It is.
Et cetera. But
also, if you're looking for like weird shapes or rounded or circular, it has to be an
acrylic.
acrylic. But
these massive displays that are like thousands of gallons or hundreds of thousands of gallons, always acrylic.
Has to be.
Can't be glass. Would a horn shark do well on a Waterbox 230?
No.
Merp.
Merp. As long as I say no.
Where's the
Your buzzer.
my button?
Just no.
How big? 1,500 gallons?
I don't know. Google.
Okay. Google.
I don't know, but I know that is too small. I can't
Hey,
tell you
Google.
what it would be.
I guess my phone doesn't do that. How big of a clean? I was trying to get my phone to wake
What
up.
size aquarium does a horn shark need? It's
How
gotta
big
be
of a cleaning crew would you recommend for a 65-gallon, 4-foot long?
Depends, but is it new? Is it established? Does it have an algae problem? How much fish and bioload do you have? That's all going to kind of come into play with how much you need. So, number one, I could say, do not go onto a website and get a cleaner pack for a 65-gallon that has 65 hermits and 65 snails and 65 this, because so many places do that, and you are just murdering 70% of them. So don't do that. That's way too many. In general, depends on if it's new. If you have algae problems, you want to go and get a handful of each. Say you're starting, your tank's established, you need it to have a little extra cleanup. Like, go get 10 snails, like 15 hermits, and then like 15 snails for the sand. Start there. Give them a couple weeks. See how well they do in maintaining. Is there still a bit of algae, or is the tank too clean? If it's too clean, get some of them out there, or they may just naturally die off to the population you need. If you still need more work, add a couple more at a time until you hit the balance that your aquarium needs, because every single 65-gallon is going to require a completely different mix of inverts depending on what your sand look like, what's your flow. There's so many variables that you can't just go buy a pack with a ton of them. You're going to have them die off. They're going to spike your ammonia. You're going to have more problems from your 65 snails that you just got in. So I'd rather you stock slow, judge what your aquarium needs, and go based upon that.
Isaac's asking, can we get how it's made Waterbox video? So Isaac, about 3 years ago, we did produce. So just look, search on our channel. There's how it's made.
500 gallons or more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seems about right.
I feel like that's probably minimum too, but funny because people always think like, sharks, they don't move too much, especially the ones that kind of chill, but they need a lot of space, and they're also very sensitive to water quality. They make a lot of waste. They emit a lot of ammonia. The bigger, better is always for that kind of stuff, for sharks and stuff. You have to be really committed with a good wallet to have sharks. You really have to.
All right. You got more, or are we good?
We are good. I'm actually just putting in the chat the link to how it's made.
Okay, cool.
Oh, Linseed says, what's the email? Email me at winners@waterboxaquariums.com about the thing he's going to send us.
Oh, okay.
The other one. Of Sir Duncan Jr. If we get another one, what's that one going to be? Sir Duncan Sr. No?
No.
I don't
Medium?
know. We already have a junior. Sir Duncan Medium. Yeah, email me at winners at, and I'll get with you on that.
Sir Duncan small, medium, and large.
Maybe that one will have a new name.
All right, guys. As always, we appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure you smash the like button. We're going to give away a few $100.
Waterbox money. Got a sale going on. Best time to win right now. Ready?
Yep.
Corey Lee and Jake Storm. Congratulations, you two. Email winners@waterboxaquariums.com. Let them know if you're in the U.S. or Canada. They'll get you hooked up. Again, guys, we have a Memorial Day sale that started today. Take advantage of it because these prices won't last. And it's just a good time to buy.
Take heed. Listen.
Yeah.
Buy now.
And then it's up to 15% off tanks, and there's a ton of stuff on sale. So again, just take advantage of it while you can. It's going from May 21st to the 27th. And
we back here
just
next
in
week?
the U.S.
Just in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
And
Canada.
Again, we always appreciate you guys tuning in with us. It means a lot. And we will see you next Wednesday.
Yep. See ya.
Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. For more information on Waterbox Aquariums, visit waterboxaquariums.com.
We're live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in, and we'll see you next week.
You